Right, we'll try this again, shall we? So, question from Kurt, how to save his hands during snatches. So he says he's tearing his calluses. So, it's what he said was he needs to change his technique when the calluses tear, which then hurts his hands somewhere else, right? So that isn't about changing your technique, it is your technique. So you're not going to want to hear that, but it will be. Trust me. When I first started doing snatches, I used to tear my hands. When I did the Strong First level 1, where you have to do the snatch test, 100 snatches in 5 minutes with a 24 kilo, I tore my hands. I don't anymore. I haven't torn my hands for a very long time. I do get like the odd blister and stuff like that, but I stop before it tears. It heals up very quickly and we're done. Okay, now, but that's a technique thing and that takes a little bit of time to work to sort out, right? So the first thing I'm going to suggest is use a lighter bell and get your technique sorted. I'll do a technique video later on today when I'm going to go to the gym later, and I'll do a technique video for you there. But it'll be clean up your technique first using a lighter bell, which I'm doing with one of the guys at BKS at the minute who's doing the Tactical Strength Challenge with me in October. I'm cleaning up his tech because he keeps pinching his calluses, and I'm cleaning up his technique first, and then we'll go heavier. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you're going to be doing lots and lots of snatches, high rep snatches. Morning, Tom. This will help you, by the way, as well. Thanks for your comment on Kurt's thing, but I'll go through a few things. But yeah, if you're doing lots and lots of snatches and you're tearing your hands, it's technique. It's all technique. Like I say, I used to tear my hands. I'm doing a Viking Warrior condition at the minute where I'll do 20 minutes, 7 on every 15 seconds, so 14 every minute. I've done 280 snatches in 20 minutes and my hands are fine. As soon as you tear them, it puts you out for a little while and then you're not going to be able to snatch for a while. So I'd say focus on technique first. Like I say, I'll do a technique video later. Now, the first thing actually, I was going to use, you're going to need a sock or two. But the first thing is, where your calluses are there, if they're raised, get a pumice stone, okay? Depending on what country you're in, they're in Boots the Chemist. In fact, Boots the Chemist is all over the world now, isn't it? So they're in Boots, but they're called foot polishers, which are made from 100% pumice. So it's a pumice stone, okay? So you get one of those when you're in the shower or whatever, when your skin's soft, just file it down. File it down. Okay, you'll feel it do that, file it down, and you'll feel that you'll go flat, the bell can then skip across. Because if that's raised and the bell's skipping across and hitting it each time, it's going to pull it off and tear it, which is horrible, awful. Okay, now, the first thing I'm going to suggest is to take a sock, and I'm going to damage a sock here on your behalf. Take a sock, and about a couple of inches off the top, simple as that. And then you take that and you put it over your calluses. So what will happen is, while your technique's getting better, it might bunch your sock up here a little bit and then end up pushing it up this way, or as you're doing it, it might pull it down this way. So then what you're trying to do is let it just skip across the sock and save your calluses, and then your technique gets better, and then you can try doing it without. Also use chalk, because that'll help it stop you getting sweaty as well. Not liquid chalk though. I've tried using liquid chalk for snatches and it's a nightmare. It turns sticky after a while when you actually been using it for a little while, start sweating. So I'll just use Climbers chalk. You can get lots of different types of chalk. I'll just use Climbers chalk. So the first thing is get your technique sorted, which I'll do a video on later. The second thing is to file your calluses down if they're getting too raised. Third thing, and the simplest thing, is the sock. I used that for ages. That was Tracy Rifkind who came up with that, and I used that for ages. And now I don't use anything. Gloves, I'm going to say no, because you need to get the feel of the bell. If you put gloves on, it's just putting an extra barrier in between the feel of that bell. Okay, you need to just get your hands stronger, is basically what I'm saying. And like I say, I used to tear my hands all the time. That's what they look like now. I've been doing loads of snatches recently. That's what they look like now. Okay, absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with them. Right. If you're going to use tape, I'm going to say use this sort of tape. What's it called? It's like kinesiology, not kinesiology tape. What's it called? Zinc tape. That's it. Zinc tape. You can get it like rugby shops and places like that, sports shops. So what you're going to do is, I haven't done this for a very long time, by the way, but I used to. This was the next thing that I used to do, and it used to really work. So you take a nice big long strip. Kind of, what you're going to do is be doing it from where your callus is there, kind of down to your wrist. Okay, so you want it to be at least that long, and then that long again. So about there. Okay, you're going to cut that off, and then this is the tricky bit. Lay it out flat. Pinch it, and then just fold it in half. Bosh, like that. Okay. Now that's not exactly in half, and there's a sticky bit there, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to address that in a minute. So then what will happen is, you then take this and put it round your finger, like that. And then you're going to, what's going to happen is it's going to come down this way. So that's very, very long. Okay, so I can cut that off. I did that on purpose just to show, because it's better to have it long than short, because otherwise you're going to have to make another one. So it's going to come over your finger and go down to there like that. So I'm just going to cut the ends off there. Bosh. Right. So then what you're going to do, you obviously need it to go around your finger like that, and then down your hand, and you're going to strap it around your wrist, okay? So we want that to protect the callus, so we want that to be as close as possible to there without pinching it, okay? Just to protect your callus like that. So you're going to do that, take it off, and what you're going to do, it's stuck now, hang on. There we go. So what you're going to do is put it together like that, okay, to create that sort of thing. Then you're going to take your tape, okay, get a length, do that, and then you're going to put that along both parts like that, okay, and then you can curl it up underneath, and then you're going to do the other side, so just make sure there's no sticky bits sticking out, because otherwise the bell will stick to it, down like that, and you're going to cut it off at the bottom. And there you have your strap. So that goes over your finger, like that, and then all you do is round here, get another bit of tape and wrap it round to hold that in place. Done. There you go. And that's going to protect your callus, look. Okay? Simple as that. If you rely on this forever though, you need to sort your technique out. That's the thing. This is good for while you're learning, but after a while, you're going to need to be able to do it without hurting your hands. And I thought the first ever kettlebell course I did was when I did my PT course. So I spent one day doing some kettlebell stuff. I was using a 12 kilo bell, and it tore my hands to shreds. 12 kilos, right? Which for me now is nothing, right? It tore my hands to shreds. I couldn't get the technique, but my hands were sore at the time anyway, so I couldn't get the technique, because once your hands are sore, it's harder to get the technique. So just make sure. So first thing, file your calluses. Second thing, try it with that. Third thing, make one of these. That's for like if you're going to be doing lots and lots and lots of repetitions and it does tear your hands still and that doesn't work. Okay? But the main thing is, on days that you can, go a bit lighter And I'm talking like two belt, depending on what bell size you're using. If you're using a 20 and it's tearing your hands apart, go to a 12, go 2 bells down. Okay, so if I'm using a 24 and it hurts my hands, I'll go down to a 16 in practice. So it's always, I usually go 2 bells lower to practice, okay? And if you can clean your technique up with the lighter bell and then do fewer reps with the heavier bell and keep your technique, you'll eventually be able to do more reps with the heavier bell. So, any questions on that, Kurt, or anyone else, give us a shout. And I'm going to do a technique video later on because there's a few little, tiny little tricks, whatever you want to call them, tiny little technique tweaks that'll really help. And some of the guys who I train in person, who I've taught the snatch to all of them, and over time, even like 6 months later, I'll be like, yeah, you remember you do this at the top, and then they're like, God, that's been a revelation. It's like, I told you that at the very start, but at the very start, you're focusing on how fast the bell is travelling, where it's going, and if it's banging your arm or not, right? There's all of that sort of stuff. So then this comes later on. So you kind of go back and relearn the technique with a lighter bell, and then you get better, and then go back and relearn it and get better. I do that with everything. I do it with cleans, I do it with presses, I do it with swings, I do it with snatches, get-ups. I'm doing get-ups with a 16 kilo bell at the minute, which is nothing. You have to keep going back, refine your technique, and it will get better. Trust me. So, Kurt, bit of patience needed, which isn't what everyone wants to hear. However, if you're already into this, you'll know what I'm talking about. Excellent. I'll do a technique video later on. Any questions, hit me up.